Next, over at number 5, let's talk Fallout 4. You know, for a game that's all about surviving in the wasteland, I always felt like I was just kind of making my way through pretty easily. Yeah, Fallout has some difficult enemies and some RPG stuff, but it never really felt like a survival experience. And then there was the Fallout 4 survival mode. There are a lot of drastic changes. You know, for one, you have to deal with hunger, thirst, and exhaustion, so you have to actually sleep, drink water, and eat. Along with that, fast travel is disabled. The only way to save is by sleeping in a bed, so no quick save or no autosave either. Stronger enemies spawn more regularly, you're subject to fatigue, and you need antibiotics or a doctor to heal any specific illnesses. Crippled limbs don't auto-heal, and if a companion is knocked unconscious during battle, they won't get up after the fact. You'll have to actually manually heal them. But probably one of the biggest changes is that ammo has weight, which is really annoying, especially if you bounce around between different weapons that use different ammo types. As annoyingly difficult as some of this might sound, it does seem like a truer survival experience that really just kind of fit the world of Fallout very well. It's worth checking out, even if you weren't super hot on Fallout 4. Now next up, yeah baby, let's talk about The Witcher 3 on Death March difficulty. Death March gives enemies approximately 80% more health and 230% more damage. So this actually makes it so being a god at the combat, being able to, be near perfect with your swords and flawless is not good enough. To succeed, you need to have that mastery as well as playing 100% completely perfectly like a Witcher. This is where it gets good. It's not just, make the enemies harder. Death March requires you to have intimate knowledge of Witchering. If you don't know, a Witcher is kind of like a magical Batman where they have tons of tools and knowledge and take to their battles in a prepared state. Witchers embrace alchemy and use potions and decoctions and special items to completely max out and RPG buff the hell out of every move you make, from poisoning yourself to cause more damage to an enemy that draws your blood, to using the right oils on swords. All of it is absolutely 1000% necessary. You can't wing it. And even if you thought you used this stuff to your advantage in the regular modes, you haven't seen anything yet. Managing Geralt's toxicity level here becomes like a whole job in and of itself. You don't want to overdose, right? And on top of that, keeping your equipment from breaking, managing food, dealing with roaming enemies that can one-shot you, it's a difficulty nightmare, sure, but on a surprisingly deeper, more technical level. Next, over at number 3, the XCOM games have a little thing called Iron Man difficulty mode, which is the hardest way to play XCOM, and it really makes the game harder. It takes away the ability to have multiple saves, for example, which makes every move you make permanent, and there's no rolling back to a save to fix something or save someone. What this does is it heightens every choice you make. Every decision truly has to be tactical and strategic on a higher level than anything you've done in previous modes, and it really truly makes you appreciate your teammates. And frankly, that's what XCOM is all about. And then, if you're really nasty, because we've mentioned it in some videos before, it deserves a special mention. Shout out to the modders. The Long War mod just makes things even crazier. If you're looking for a true endurance run in a game like this, look no further. Now down to number 2, let's talk about The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2. The Last of Us already, it's not the easiest game, even on normal difficulty. Naughty Dog either way just did a really good job of making the game feel pretty intense. So when you switch to Grounded mode, everything just gets turned up to 11. Grounded mode is both games, and for the most part, has the same changes in difficulty in both of them. Enemies deal more damage and are more aggressive. Ammo, crafting, and upgrade materials aren't as plentiful. The HUD is kept at a bare minimum, or just gone depending on the game. Listening mode is disabled, which is a huge crutch that you realize you rely on, and items won't shine in the environment, so you have to be really perceptive. But what this does is, again, not just makes it challenging enemies, or less health or anything like that, it actually just turns the game into a true survival horror experience, and it makes it way more stressful than it already was to begin with. And down finally at number 1, Alien Isolation. Nightmare difficulty is something else, man. The alien that stalks you throughout the game is smarter, pretty much relentless here, so you never really get much of a break from it. The other enemies' AI is pretty smart as well, although it seems like the distance you can be spotted is the same. Still, it's the alien you really need to worry about, specifically because you have no map, which absolutely sucks. And in this mode, the iconic alien motion tracker is broken, so it's more of a liability and just causes more problems for you. So the way to really do this mode is to always be on the move and just do it the old-fashioned way. Use your eyes, but more specifically, your ears, and just hope for the best to avoid the big bad. Now, along with that stress, of course, you're also managing way less resources that were fairly abundant on normal modes in comparison, so it also becomes like an old school survival horror resource management thing too, which is great. So yeah, good luck with that one. It's a game that's quite a few years old at this point, but it still holds the hell up. So those are 10 games with some pretty interesting harder difficulty modes that we thought were worth highlighting